recruits train behind the wheel of high-speed Dodge Challengers and Chevy Suburbans.
Alright y'all, welcome back to Combat Arms channel. Okay, so today we're checking out a U.S. organization. Now we're not going to be checking out military units or police unit. We're going to be checking out the Secret Service. Now I gotta say, I don't know a whole lot about the Secret Service. I think I know as much as everybody else does. I think that's kind of the point. You get this sort of, image for the Secret Service, and that's about it. But I don't know a whole lot about them as far as what kind of training they go through, how long the training is, or even like the pipeline to actually go into the Secret Service. So I'm not sure if you can actually be a civilian and then go straight into it, or if you need to go from like another agency or organization. So today we're going to be checking out the Secret Service boot camp, which sounds pretty cool. Again, they're not going to be showing everything. This is from Business Insider. So I know they did previous videos. They did like the Royal Canadian Mounties. They did the Marine Corps boot camp, Army boot camp. So they do a bunch of like stuff like this where they actually go and check out the boot camps. Now we've seen previously how they sort of, leave some things out, which makes sense. But yeah, I guess it'll give us a better idea of how the training is anyway. Imagine it should be pretty badass just based off of their actual mission, actually guarding the president or former presidents or, important people like that. So let's check it out.
You okay, man?
Mother.
Oh, put the bat down. Drop the bat.
That's
I want
sick.
you to take all the notions that you have about what we do in the Secret Service that you've seen on the movies and on TV shows, and I want you to throw it out the window.
Okay.
The Secret Service is the premier law
I like
enforcement
that
agency in the world.
the eye shot.
It is by far the best protective agency that's ever been.
All right.
The Secret Service has a zero-fail mission.
Not too humble
That
there, but
is
okay.
now your responsibility. That is now the weight on your shoulders. Now you have to earn it every single day.
So you'll kind of see this a lot with like different boot camp or basic trainings. And whenever you get there, they're like, whatever you envisioned, however you pictured this, just throw that away. Like you need to go through the motions as you're seeing it and not how you envisioned it, or else you might be slightly disappointed. And people just tend to think like, yeah, certain things are high speed. Generally, if you're going to be joining that organization, you have a better idea of what they actually do. But some people do just have this misconception that everyone is just badass. And right when you get into a unit, you're going to be doing the most badass stuff possible. So it's kind of important that they do give that caveat in the beginning of the training so people don't have the wrong mindset. All right, Secret Service, hell yeah. They all look like in pretty decent shape so far.
Is Secret Service boot camp. Before they join the Secret
Nice rifle.
Service, all recruits have to graduate from the agency's 6-month training program.
Okay.
Training
6 months.
happens here at the James J. Rowley Training Center in Laurel, Maryland, located about 20 miles north of Washington.
Makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Welcome to the James J. Rowley United States Secret Service Training Center.
On day 1, a new class of recruits arrives at the academy.
Have a seat. Every one of you
I like the
sitting here
suits.
Right now, there was about 100
Reminds me
other
of the
applicants that
Royal
tried to get
Marine
the seat that you have earned.
Intro.
How did you earn that seat? You earned that seat by getting through our very, very difficult and in-depth vetting process. And you should be congratulated.
Okay.
And I hope you celebrate.
Yeah, so they're talking about a vetting process. I imagine you need like a certain clearance or something just to even get into the training. So they probably do a whole bunch of background checks just to make sure you're actually eligible to be receiving this training. Because, if someone's going through the training, all of a sudden they do a background check and they have a lot of weird affiliations. Probably not going to be the best fit for someone who might be in close proximity to the president.
Because the celebration time is over. Now's the time for business. Everybody clear on that? On Saturday, you will
Hell
report.
yeah.
Before they begin their Secret Service specific training, these recruits will spend 3 months at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center in Artesia, New Mexico,
Get back
Okay.
in the building now.
before returning to Maryland for 3 more months of focused training.
Wait, so they have to go to Maryland just to go to New
Includes
Mexico?
driving, marksmanship, hand-to-hand combat, and realistic threat scenarios.
Hell yeah.
You're going to hear a phrase over and over and over again throughout your training, in particular this week. The Secret Service has a zero-fail mission. What that means in layman's terms, ladies and gentlemen, is this. You don't get a bad day in the Secret Service. There's plenty of
Yeah,
other
I
pursuits
guess.
out there, noble
Sure.
pursuits, lawyers, plumbers, firemen, doctors. If one of those folks has a rough night the night before, stays out late, they have to deal with their boss, some kind of disciplinary action. If you
Okay.
have a bad day,
I think I know what he means
and
now.
you don't do your job, you're going to change the world. Is there anyone?
Yeah, so I get it. I think it is a little bit extreme. I don't know how they are as far as like if you're actively serving in a Secret Service role, if you can consume alcohol, if there's certain times you can't consume alcohol, if you're on call during certain hours. I'm not sure how it actually is, but I mean, it's a little bit unreasonable to expect people to not do anything as far as like go out and drink and stuff like that. And I'm not sure exactly if that's what he means, but I think he's just saying you need to be disciplined, because if you go into work not prepared and not with the right mindsets, then you shouldn't be in that position, because you're going to be guarding some pretty important people.
One that doesn't want to proceed at this point. All right, then let's get down to business.
I hope no one would raise their hand there unless they have like some personal
We
issues
spent
going on.
3 days at the training center, where we observed recruits at various stages of training.
It's going to be a long week.
Hell
For
yeah.
the new class, their first week focuses on a physical
Okay.
evaluation
Yeah, let's see how this is.
and
Again,
getting rid of any bad habits they may have brought.
they seem to be
into
in
the
pretty good
academy.
shape.
We left yesterday without chairs being pushed in, and now we can't pay attention to detail 1 minute after the detail's given out. And we're laughing and joking in here. It is going to be an extremely long week. Do not make plans for Friday getting out of here on time, because that ain't happening.
Although
Okay.
we were
I
allowed
like
to
it.
film inside the academy, our access was limited, and we were only able to film certain aspects of training, the
Makes
rest
sense.
of which remained secret.
There's certain things that we will not be able to show yourself or any other members of the media here, and that's really for the safety of our protectees.
Yeah,
We
of
don't
course.
want to advertise our playbook, so to speak.
Yeah, so far it doesn't seem like like a boot camp style, like Marine Corps boot camp style stuff, which is good. Again, when you have like people who are going into such a professional job, you don't want someone who's just like yelling at them or barking at them constantly, because that's not very professional. It doesn't like convey this professional meaning, and then it also kind of like brainwashes them to the point of them just like trying to be violent or doing stuff under constant stress, which isn't really going to be their job. They need to be like slow, monotonous, and have a whole lot of attention to detail, so that barking and that yelling isn't really going to fit in with what they're actually doing. So it's cool that they're actually doing it a certain way. I mean, they're adding some stress, but they're not making it stupid.
For example, we weren't able to film any training that incorporated this partial replica of Air Force One,
That's
used
cool.
to create specific scenarios where the president is threatened.
That is really cool. I like
We
it.
don't want to give people specifics into our protective methodologies that we have in place for some of our protection. Clearly, some of those things we cannot share, and that's really to make sure that we're not giving any sort of an advantage to any of our adversaries out
Yeah,
there.
makes sense. Hell yeah, some historic footage.
United States Secret Service, America's first line of defense against the counterfeiter and the crank.
The Secret Service
Huh.
was founded in 1865. Its primary mission? To combat the counterfeiting of U.S. currency.
Did not know that.
Secret Service, whose foremost duty is protecting the
Huh.
President of the United States and his family.
The Secret Service began its protective mission after the 1901 assassination of President William McKinley.
I have the president's...
Okay, even as an American, I have very, very little knowledge about that. I think there's very few Americans that can actually tell you how many presidents were actually assassinated or how many assassination attempts there actually were. But again, McKinley, a lot of people wouldn't even recognize him as a president. So yeah, hopefully we're getting a little bit of insight as to the Secret Service, but again, you sort of need to understand the background a little bit as to what actually happened with that scenario. So might do some research after this just so I'm a little bit more aware.
personal bodyguard. I go where he goes. I want to say that anybody who has no business with him better look out. And believe me,
Just
I
smoking.
don't mean maybe.
There's like 40s, 50s
Since the Secret
voices.
Service began its protective mission, the president has remained a target. Since 1901, President Kennedy has been the sole president to die at the hands of an assassin, despite numerous attempts by others. Like in 1994,
Yeah. I didn't know they had
when
that
a gunman
footage.
opened fire on the White House while President Clinton watched a football game inside.
Oh,
The way of our
dude.
protective mission, we have to make sure that
Those
anyone in these
freaking guys
positions
are
is,
badasses.
truly worthy of
Holy
trust and
cow.
confidence, which is our motto here. We're getting ready to go into another campaign year, so we have to build up our workforce in order to help support that.
Yeah, that's
Base
true
salary
too.
for new agents and officers starts
see.
as low as $47,000 a year. Potential recruits
Okay.
apply on the Secret Service website, but most applicants are eliminated during an intense vetting process.
Generally,
Yeah.
it takes quite a long
Those
time
background
in order
checks,
to get
for
through
sure.
our screening process. They're very in-depth background checks, qualification to obtain a top secret clearance and maintain one, to undergo a polygraph examination, successfully pass that. They have a lot to
fun.
be proud of just for the fact that they're sitting here.
Yeah, I really love when they have the old school footage because it just gives the viewer some context as to where these guys actually came from and how they sort of progressed over the years. I'm sure it gives all the guys and girls a little bit of context as to what they're getting into whenever they see those videos at the beginning of their training.
One thing to understand, guys, this is not a video.
You just got
In
punched.
this exercise,
The heck was
recruits
that?
interact with a video screen that plays a scenario involving a potential threat to
This
a
is legit, dude.
Stop moving!
A broken beer
judge
bottle.
How quickly they're able to assess and respond to the threat.
So, there's the gun I knew I was going to find. What can I do with this?
Recruits also
What is this shirt? Choose to be salty. You choose to be. Okay, I don't know. It's like some cats eating ice cream. I like it. I like the Hawaiian shirt he's got on over it too.
engage with role players who create realistic law enforcement scenarios.
Oh, what a rookie! He's just got his. You have a gun in his waist belt?
Working in motor vehicles plays a big part in training in what the Academy calls protective transportation.
Hell yeah.
Recruits train behind the wheel of high-speed Dodge Challengers and Chevy Suburbans.
That's
Secret
sick.
Service's mission is to get protectees safely from point A to point B. The training that we provide enhances that mission, that foundational.
This is
drive
that stuff that
they are
everybody
going to need
sees
to be
when they
effective
think of like Secret Service.
All right, everybody ready?
Just being like a badass.
Recruits also experience a rollover simulator to prepare
That's
them
cool.
for what it's like inside a vehicle that's flipped over.
Next four up.
That's pretty slow
The
though.
instructor allowed us in the simulator
I wonder how fast it
to
goes.
experience it from the inside.
Okay,
Recruits
here's the
in-
thing. Okay, so here's the thing with rollover simulators. Now, we do them as well in the military, and I'll post a video right here. But the reason why we do it is, of course, if you hit an IED, you're going to have a bunch of stuff in the vehicle that's going to get launched up as well. So it gives you a little bit more familiarization of what happens if you're not tying all the stuff down. Because, of course, when an IED goes up, a lot of the stuff that'll kill people is the stuff that's inside the vehicle, like an ammo can or casings or what have you. It'll get launched up into the person. So you get a little bit more familiarization as to how to tie things down. And again, it's not as quick as you would expect. It's pretty hard to spin a military vehicle that quickly, but it gives you a bit more familiarization of just how to get outside of the vehicle whenever it's like flipped upside down, and just, you know, how stuff is going to move around. But with this, it looked like they had Suburbans that was spinning pretty slowly. Again, when you see like cars spinning, it's usually pretty quick. So I'm not sure exactly if they're working on how to get out a specific way, if the vehicle is upside down, or if they're just trying to have like the mental mindset of, okay, this is what it's like spinning inside of a car. So it's kind of weird. You can train it specific ways, but just getting spun around in a vehicle is not going to help you unless you drill something into their mind, like this is how you would get out or something.
Hours on the firing range.
Hell yeah, here we go.
They cross paths with active agents who've come back to the academy for in-service training.
That's cool. That's some good motivation right there.
Recruits engage in water-based scenarios, including being challenged to escape from this apparatus,
Okay.
which simulates being trapped in a helicopter that's flipped upside down
Okay.
underwater.
We have the same thing in the Marines.
Good.
It's not
You
fun.
guys ready to do some team tactics?
Huh, but they were like shooting in the
Learn
water. That was
control
pretty cool.
tactics used to detain and subdue an assailant.
So shoot them
Male
and tackle
female
them.
Recruits train together throughout basic training. Of the approximately 7,000 people in the Secret Service, less than 25% are female.
Okay.
I'm gonna come around and check.
I'm not sure what they were training on. It seemed like they were literally just tackling them and shooting them. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of like technique involved, it looked like. Now, there are certain techniques you can utilize, like mock techniques, mechanical advantage, control holds. That's what you'll get taught a lot when you're using like batons and stuff. But most of the time, that stuff is garbage and you're not going to actually use it. I wouldn't even recommend using it in real life because it's just not realistic. It requires someone just completely standing still and just having like no will to fight back.
One of the most challenging parts of training occurs when the recruits are exposed to tear gas.
Challenging, huh? Let's see it.
Holy it's burning my eyes. We couldn't bring our camera inside the gas chamber, but we did convince an officer to shoot inside with an iPhone, showing us what it's like for recruits when they're exposed to the gas.
There's not even that much. You can't even see the smoke. I love it. That's not... Dude, the gas chamber is really not that hard.
We weren't allowed to interview recruits during training or to film at graduation. Once training is complete, these future agents and officers begin their zero-fail mission against the backdrop of an intense election year in a nation divided by politics.
We protect the office of the president.
Yeah,
We're not
politics.
political appointees. It
It's the
doesn't
root of
matter
all
to
evil
us
right
who
there.
the people elect. We're going to protect those individuals with the same zealousness that we would regardless. Political opinions don't come into play at all. What we're focused on is training, preparing them to do the job that they're going to need to do, and that's all that counts for us.
That's a good point to make right there. I like it. All right. Yeah, so again, their training is 6 months long, and we only saw like a fraction. It makes sense. They're not going to be able to show a whole lot, but I wish they went a little bit more in depth as far as like the the training they were doing, especially with the water training. That looked really cool because it looked like they were like shooting while they were in the water, and that I don't know who would even train that, but that's like a very niche scenario to be training with, so that's pretty legit. And of course, at the end, he was making that distinction, like it doesn't matter what your political side is, we're training you to do a specific job, and you're coming here to do that job. I wonder how they do it in the vetting process just to make sure that there's unbiased individuals, because people are generally, they're naturally going to have a bias towards like whatever, one political party or whatever nonsense you want to talk about. So I wonder how they actually vet that, or if they just train them to disregard all that stuff because they have a mission. And that makes sense. Again, you need mature and responsible people going into those jobs so they don't have that bias getting in the way of anything. So really, really cool stuff. Again, Business Insider does some cool stuff. Again, it doesn't go too in-depth with a lot of it, and that's totally fine. It gives us a general idea of how all of it goes down, which is more than I learned. So Maryland and I think it was New Mexico for their training areas, so that's pretty cool. 6 months, though, I wonder how much you can actually learn in 6 months. I guess it makes sense. I mean, you get civilians getting turned into Marines in about 3 months, but honestly, I think it could be a little bit longer. So I think 6 months is a good go-to, especially if you have mature individuals that are just focused the entire time. You don't need to like break them down so much. You can just start building up because you have like a solid basis. So yeah, awesome video. Let me know what you guys think about the Secret Service. If you have any experience, if you have any like relatives that were actually in the Secret Service, I'd love to hear those stories. But yeah, this is probably the most I ever learned about the Secret Service, so it's always good to learn a little bit. So hopefully you guys learned a little bit as well. But yeah, if you have any other comments, feel free to throw those down in the comment section. Feel free to hit that thumbs up and definitely consider subscribing. I appreciate y'all. Send any other recommendations for any other agencies, whether it be U.S. agencies or any other foreign agencies as well. It'd be cool to check out. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. That is it for this one. I'll see y'all in the next one.